I am betting on two NFL season-long player props, and both of them are over. So the reason I'm betting them now is I think these lines are eventually going to move, and I want to get ahead of the market. I'll have plenty more, but a lot of them are win totals or under, so those can wait. And if you can believe it, the NFL preseason starts on July 31st. This month, it's almost time for football, and it is so good to be back. Last season, we went 4-1 on our NFL season-long player props, and it really could have been 5-0. We took Josh Allen under 12 and a half interceptions, and he finished with 6. We took Jalen Hurts under 10 and a half interceptions, and he finished with 5. We took Bijan Robinson over 6.5 rushing touchdowns, and he finished with 14. We took Tony Pollard under 5.5 rushing touchdowns, and luckily he finished with 5. But our one loss was on DeAndre Swift under 5.5 rushing touchdowns as he ran into the end zone on the final week of the regular season, ending with 6 on the nose. And of course, we hope to replicate that success again this year, and it starts right now. But before I give you the picks, a reminder that the best way to support this channel is to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, as this channel is the home for all of my NFL picks moving forward 2025 season and beyond. And it also helps to comment. So if you do like the picks, comment tailing or any of the reasons why you like these plays, because I'm going to give them all to you in full analysis. And if you don't like them, tell me why, and we'll have some fun discourse in the comment section. Pick number 1. Let's get straight into it. Last year, Trey McBride made headlines because of his lack of touchdowns. He didn't get on the board until week 17 and only finished with 2 receiving touchdowns. Everyone went crazy over this for good reason, because it was a statistical anomaly that he didn't find the end zone. McBride finished 6th in red zone targets from 10 yards and in last year with 13. The 5 above him, Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devontae Adams, and Jamar Chase all finished with 8 touchdowns or more. McBride finished 12th in red zone targets from 20 yards and in last year with 20. The 11 above him, DJ Moore, Cortland Sutton, Zach Ertz, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, T. Higgins, Devontae Adams, Travis Kelce, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and of course Jamar Chase, and only one of them finished with under 5 touchdowns. Marvin Harrison, his teammate, caught 8 touchdown passes, but only had 13 red zone targets. McBride cleared him and the rest of the Cardinals pass catchers by far in red zone targets. I mean, McBride finished 4th in the NFL last season in receptions with 111. Every single player with at least 95 receptions had at least 5 receiving touchdowns, and McBride finished 11th in receiving yards last year. 9 of the 10 players scored at least 5 touchdowns. Jerry Jeudy had 4. McBride finished 10th in targets, and 8 of the 9 players scored at least 5 touchdowns who had more targets than him, except for Travis Kelce, again, who had 3. And his quarterback, Kyler Murray, ranks 7th among all quarterbacks in EPA per attempt, targeting tight ends higher than it was to his wide receivers, ranked 26th, or to his running backs, which ranked 12th. And McBride, the tight end, led the team in targets, 31 more than second place Marvin Harrison, again, who had 8 touchdowns. His 27.5% target rate led all tight ends. And the backup, Tip Ryman, don't really know much about him. He's the listed backup. He only had 6 catches for 37 yards last season. And the reason we're focusing so heavily on the red zone is because Kyler Murray is not a deep throw specialist. He's supposed to make his money in the red zone. Per Sharp Football Analysis, over the last 3 seasons, Murray has completed 44.3% of his throws 10 yards or more downfield, ranks 29th in the league. Over the past 3 seasons, Murray has completed 30.8% of his throws 20 or more yards downfield, which is 30th in the league. Kyler Murray finished 7th in completion percentage among qualified quarterbacks 20 yards and in last year, the red zone, with 16 of his 21 passing touchdowns coming in the red area. He tried to get it to McBride plenty of times, as stated above. They just didn't land. Even baking in volume regression for McBride, it's still too much for him not to find the end zone at least 5 times next season. He's the number 1 weapon on his team, and Kyler has had the most success last year targeting him of any position group. Dortch and Wilson combined for 7 touchdowns on 84 receptions. McBride had 111 receptions with just 2 touchdowns. And the cherry on top, McBride led all tight ends last year in expected touchdowns at 7.9. I think that this line should be 6.5, but after just 2 touchdowns last year and only 3 the year before, but the year before he wasn't exactly the focal point and still had more than he did last year, we're getting fantastic value on his over. Based on the value, this play should be even higher, but we have to bake in injury risk when taking overs. So we're keeping this still at a 3 unit play, which is a big time future for me. Give me Trey McBride over 4.5 receiving touchdowns at -110, a great price on BetMGM 3 unit bomb. And before we get to my next pick, if you want to join our Discord to get all of my NFL plays and futures as soon as I bet them to save on line movement, and it's also just really fun to sweat them out and converse about them in a really fun setting, the link is in the episode description. It's just $10 a month. It's like the less than a price of a sandwich these days. But on this channel, you'll always get my picks for free. Those are just for the people who want to sweat them out, save on line movement, and just have fun with us all season long. Pick number 2, we're looking at a Dallas Cowboys receiver, the new one, George Pickens, who had the worst luck of any receiver last year when it came to catching touchdown passes, again in 2024. Per fantasypoints.com, and I quote, based on the amount and locations of Pickens' targets, he'd have been expected to score 7.6 touchdowns. Compared to his 3 actual touchdowns, that 4.6 expected touchdown gap was the largest on a per game basis of any qualifying wide receiver. And on top of that, he missed 3 games last year, but based on these numbers, if he gets even close to the volume that he should in the end zone, he should clear 4.5 touchdowns relatively easily. And this comes to us again from Fantasy Points data, the lowest touchdown rates on end zone targets from 2021 to 2024. Justin Jefferson, number 1, AJ Green, number 2, Chris Godwin and Jerry Jeudy again from last year, at Cortland Sutton at number 5, and then George Pickens at number 6. Let's look at what those wide receivers did in the next season. So Justin Jefferson, again in 2023, he only scored 5 touchdowns, but that was in 10 games. AJ Green scored 2 touchdowns. We'll talk about him in a second. Chris Godwin scored 5 touchdowns, but he only played in 7 games in 2024. Jerry Jeudy is the other one. He has yet to play, and I think it's a good bet based on positive regression, but the quarterback situation is just so bad in Cleveland that I just can't get there. And then last but not least, you have Cortland Sutton, who played a full year and scored 10 touchdowns. 3 of the 4 wide receivers I just listed had at least 5 touchdowns, even though 2 of them got hurt. The one who didn't, AJ Green, 2022 was his last season in the NFL, and it already felt like he was on a downward trend. And of course, he retired after that season. George Pickens had 13 end zone targets last season. Only 11 players can say the same. Those wide receivers were Tyreek Hill, Terry McLaurin, Rome Odunze, Drake London, T. Higgins, Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, Marvin Harrison, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and Cortland Sutton. The only wide receiver to fall short of at least 5 touchdowns was Rome Odunze, who also dealt with poor quarterback play and was also his rookie season. This has been the story for Pickens thus far. The uber-talented wide receiver is getting a massive upgrade here at quarterback, and Sharp Football Analysis broke down how bad it's truly been for George Pickens. And I quote, to this point in his career, Pickens has averaged over 15 yards per reception every year, with his targets coming from Kenny Pickett, Russell Wilson, Mitch Trubisky, Justin Fields, and Mason Rudolph. 15.4% of his career targets have been inaccurate. The only receivers with an off-target rate with as many targets over that span, Deontay Johnson, Amari Cooper, Devontae Adams, and DJ Moore. Dak Prescott, though, instead of all of those, not garbage men, but not the greatest quarterback play possible, Dak Prescott is much more accurate. He ranks 7th in accuracy rate when targeting receivers. And in 2023, Brandon Cooks, the WR2 on the Cowboys, secured 8 touchdown passes. And Jake Ferguson that year also had an additional 5. They accomplished this while CeeDee Lamb went nuts, going for 1,749 yards with 12 touchdowns. So even if it's still just the CeeDee Lamb show, there's plenty to go around for a player of George Pickens' caliber who is a true red zone threat. I think Pickens and Dak are really going to blend well on top of this. 28.3% of his targets have been 20 plus yards or more, which leads the NFL since George Pickens entered the league. Since Dak entered the league, per Sharp Football Analysis, Prescott is fourth in rating on throws 20 yards or more downfield, 108.7, and eighth in accuracy. Warren Sharp also mentioned a T. Higgins type adjacent season for Pickens in 2025. And T. Higgins is a player who sustained injuries throughout his career. We know the hamstring seems to come up every single season, but he has never caught less than 5 touchdowns in a season in his career. Also, just in general, you get a better quarterback, but there's just going to be a lot more volume in the Dallas Cowboys passing attack versus the Pittsburgh Steelers passing attack, right? New head coach Brian Schottenheimer, who's going to be calling the plays, has had his offense when he's calling plays top 10 in dropbacks over the last 3 seasons. The Steelers have never been in the top 10 when George Pickens has been in Pittsburgh, and 2 of the 3 seasons he was there, they were outside the top 25. Dak Prescott loves to throw the football. In 2023, he ranked fourth in attempts. With Pickens, we really just have to balance injury risk and the potential for off-field issues. I mean, Pittsburgh let him go. I feel like that's kind of telling, which is the only thing that kind of worries me here. But even if he misses 3 to 4 games, he still should clear this line. So it's more, I think, about his antics. He's an exceptional talent. And now it's just a matter of can he mesh with the Cowboys? But even if we get 75% of George Pickens, the volume, and he has the talent to get at least 5 touchdowns. So I took on BetMGM George Pickens over 4.5 receiving touchdowns at the same line for 2 units. And I placed both of these on BetMGM, which has by far the best prices of for both of these players of any sportsbook. And if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use code JUSTGridiron for a first bet offer up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first pick loses. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and yet another reminder to like the video, subscribe, comment down below, as this channel is the home for all of my NFL picks moving forward. We got 2 picks to start us off. And of course, this channel will feature plenty more season-long player props and win totals. And then, of course, all of my week-to-week bets. But we do have to remember, though, none of this was gambling advice.